from the O'Connor Law Firm, a Rule 17 certified mediator here in Missouri. And what that means is I've gone through the formal training to be an official, I guess what you call it, or certified mediator, which allows me to assist people in resolving disputes, which can be a really good thing in terms of saving money, time, and a lot of hassle and heartache. Now, a lot of people have a misconception about what mediation is and the process that it goes through. So first, I want to tell you what it's not. It is not an arbitration. An arbitration is where someone other than a judge, what's called an arbitrator, hears both sides in an argument, and they can present evidence, things of that nature, and then the arbitrator makes a decision. That is not what a mediator does. A mediator listens to both sides and facilitates resolution. They don't decide the case. You don't have to settle it. Here's how it works. Let's say it's there's several types of cases that can be mediated, like a divorce case, whether it involves the property or custody or visitation or who gets what percentage of the retirement fund, things of that nature. The mediator would sit down with both sides at the beginning and go through what the expectations are. This is what the mediator will do, and this is the process. And then he will separate the parties, and he will talk to each of them individually and go back and forth between the parties until they come to an agreement or don't come to an agreement. Sort of the rule is that a good agreement is one that everybody equally dislikes. So for example, in a car accident case where someone is injured in an auto accident and the insurance company and the person or the plaintiff who is injured want to resolve that claim, they would go back and forth on the value of their claim. They would look at things like the medical bills, the risk of future injury, pain and suffering, how much work time they lost. And they would look at the jury verdict services and see what that is worth, and then also the time value of the money. What does that mean? $10,000 today is worth more than $10,000 2 years from now. And also the cost of litigation is factored in. For example, if you're in a divorce and you spend $25,000 on your lawyer, and it takes you a year and a half, 2 years to get divorced and go through that whole process, and you end up obtaining, let's say, 60% of your spouse's 401k, which is $50,000, you're up $25,000, but you had to go through that whole process in the meantime. And most cases turn out about the same, no matter how much you spend on your lawyer over time. So you want to keep in mind the value of mediation is to bring the parties together with a skilled mediator to point out the strengths and weaknesses in the case, and also to have a reasonable, loose prediction of what the judge may or may not do in the case. And that's important to know. And that's why you want to have a mediator who has experience both in the area or field of practice and in the courts that your case is pending. For example, I've practiced in Jackson, Buchanan, Platte, Clay, all of the Kansas City metropolitan areas, and in cases throughout Missouri and elsewhere in the different jurisdictions. So I tend to know what the judge's propensities or habits are on different legal issues, so I can share that with people that I'm helping mediate. If you can spend $1,000 or $800 on a mediator and resolve a case in a day versus spending $10,000 over a year fighting about things, you can see the value of mediation. So I encourage people to consider mediation as a viable alternative. Plus, the best part about mediation, it gives you control. When you have a judge decide a case, you don't have control. Once you present your evidence, it's up to the judge. He or she is going to decide the facts of the case, and if it's about your children, their future is in the judge's hands. If it's about your pocketbook or your injury or a contract dispute or things of that nature, that's all in the judge's hands. At a mediation, you can control the outcome. You know that you're going to get X number of dollars on a car accident case, or that you're going to have a certain parenting plan if you're a parent who's going through a divorce. It gives you the ability to know what the outcome is. That's the value of mediation. It saves you time, hassle, and money. And I encourage all of you to learn more about it. And that's what mediation is.